10 years, 700 mil. Even though it's not all in the main contract, it is deferred payments over time, apparently, where he'll be getting that money after the contract, kind of like a child star where they put the money away. I think, was it like they put 20% of the money away in a safe fund so the parents can't touch it, no one can touch it? Well, Shohei the money, and boy, he can touch it, just not on the mound because he's got some elbow or shoulder issue. So it's all going to be hitting it from either side. Now that's a switch hitter. It's weird because the last Japanese person I saw that made this much news was Mr. Baseball, except he had a mustache, and then he stabbed the plate with chopsticks, which is apparently rude in culture. Well, he's stabbing us American players and making us look bad. We have all these players, we're so good. $300 million contract, and the 6'4" Japanese dude is like, I get hit from both sides, throw from both hands, and get paid for the both of y'all. And it's like me. I get paid for all of y'all motherfuckers who don't want to do your job. And then I get taxed as much as your checks are. Humble brag, as they say. I'm a humble guy. But then I will humbly brag about how much you are not humble about my brag. And so I really am like Nicki Minaj. All these bitches are my sons. Except I am like the pink sauce lady, because no matter how unhealthy, unsanitary the first sauce is, the FDA is like, let's give her a second one. I think it's blue. It did come out of the blue, but she never got the clue. I actually growing up, I always did want my name to be Steve. That is a true story. I always tell my mom, probably because kids would make fun of my name and take a letter out and call me something else. Now that's a sensitive subject, no matter which way you go around, clockwise or counter. I never had anything to counter at the time. But so I would tell mom, like, hey, why didn't you name me Steve? You made my life miserable. She's like, but I always knew you'd be something unique. When you think about it, me and my brother both start with the letter C, and we have the same amount of letters. I really think she probably just went in a handbook. Like the starter pack, You have kids out of nowhere, young age, like, shit, I gotta come up with a name. C. And then back to back. And then, like, when she had me, it was like, oh, shit. And it's like, she, like, saved the page, saved the tab, and she's like, yeah. That's right there. It's close enough, We look the same. We are the same. We come from the same gene pool. Even though, think about it. If it was literally just saved in some genes, I wouldn't be here. But now that's a kiss from the Simmons tree. All right, that was bad. No matter how you stick your tongue out. It's weird how the most famous person from freaking Kiss is the bass player. I'm not saying bass players don't matter, but they are the least decorated. Probably the least, I don't want to say important, because that sounds bad, but they're definitely the least. They're the most replaceable. Bass can be very replaceable. Like, if a guitar player can't play a solo, it's going to be obvious. If a singer can't sing, if a drummer can't drum, you could just put some bass shit in the background and replace him. But he made his name doing reality shows, being a figure. So, You know, he was really ahead of the thought culture when you really think about it. He was out here sticking his tongue out before Megan Thee Stallion. You know, even though he's very reserved. I think he's Hawaiian, Polynesian, part Japanese. I'm not sure. I probably should stop talking about it. But woohoo. Welcome to episode 239 of the Often Be podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Most important, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. A, B, or C. Go through the alphabet. I promise you, there'll be an NBA in-season cup tournament, which is why I am representing. Even though I haven't watched a single Lakers minute game or really much of any games. I've betted on all of them, but I haven't actually watched. They say. If you don't watch, place $20 and hope you win 100. Which, is weird? I've actually been kind of putting some over and unders on some hockey. And I've been getting more of those correct. And I barely know anything about hockey. I just been betting on shots on goal because I'm like, the numbers are so low. Like, I think these apps are like, no one actually bets on this shit. So we could put favorable things on here. And people are just missing out. I've been hitting the right numbers on those. It's like, wait, this decorated player, Alex Ovechkin, just has to shoot the puck 3 times on the goal. 3? These periods are long. Now, they sub out like a motherfucker. They sub out more than, Subway. Even though these hockey, going back to the Shohei contract, like hockey, always doing these 7-10 year contracts for like literally 10% of the money, if you're lucky. But yeah, Jesus. I know I kind of came off as a douchebag. Trust me, it's never a bragging about how much you get taxed. It's not a cool brag. What's cooler is evading them. Now that's the cool part, I can't wait to get so rich where I start evading my taxes, where I actually start questioning how much money I'm giving up. I'm getting a taste of it, but it still really ain't a taste, It's just like, man, this shit's fucking annoying. But you're still taking enough home where you're like, whatever. Imagine, like, thinking you're leaving with $30,000 after you're mentally thinking you're taking some tax home for the month. And you're really taking home, like, $17,000. $17,000 is still a nice chunk of change to bring home in a month. But it's still a lot of money you're not bringing home. And when you really break that down, you're like, the only reason why I'm not contesting this is because I will go to prison. Tax is one of those things where it's one of those things like, they'll put you, like, they do not fuck around. Like, they feel like you're hiding some money from them, right? Tax is one of those things, it's like, it's such this, like, non-violent crime. It seems harmless, like, we didn't report, $8,000 that we made to the government this year in our private business. And we try to write it off as an expense when in reality it doesn't qualify, but we did this loophole, and then they come after you, do an audit, whatever the fucking audit is. It sounds like more like you're just auditioning more money for them to take. Which is weird, they're like, the IRS is going to audit you. And you're just like, what's stupid? I've never understood. It's like, you guys see how much money I make? You guys have all my legal records of my job, my W-2. Why can't you just take out the money gradually through the year that I'm going to owe you, or that you're going to owe me, and reimburse it when you owe me? Why not just do it that way? Because we have to create this system where we have to give the opportunity for people to be stupid. We have to give the opportunity to create a lane where we got to have tax experts. We got to file taxes, which is another service cost. And people just literally pay for the convenience of not worrying about going to jail. Like, it is, trust me, it's a good expense. Pay the $100-some to have someone file your taxes so you don't go to prison for 3 years. It's a great exchange. But why not just, you have, like, you see how much money I'm making, you see how much you're taking, just take the money. Just take it out of my checks. Like, as much as that would suck in the moment, it's better than opening the opportunity of saying, like, hey, because you didn't pay us the $400, that's not going to do anything for the economy last year. We're coming after you, and we're coming after everything you fucking got. It seems like a system that is literally designed just to open the opportunity for potential, I don't want to say imprisonment, but just to open opportunity to take advantage of people that are ignorant when we don't teach taxes on a real level, unless you're in financing or accounting. Like, it is just, maybe it is purposely not taught in schools or even college level, like, because maybe it's purposely taught so people just give money they don't really know if they really need to pay it or not, so they can just ask for money, charge you for shit. Like, it would make sense for you to want to know taxes so they would get their money and you understand the ramifications. But it really seems like it's a taxing process. It's funny how the state taxes are nothing. It's like, oh, the state owes you $8. But the federal, they're like, you either owe like $50 or $6,000. Like, there's no middle range for your income level. Like, but that is one of the beautiful things of not making a whole lot of money, is that you never owe money. Like, you think like, oh man, I can't wait till tax season. I'm getting $400 returned to me. After you pay $120 for someone to do it anyways, but you look forward to tax season. The more money you make, the less you look forward to tax season, because you're gonna owe money, or they're gonna take money off of debt that you haven't paid because now they know you could pay it. They're like, oh, that's great. Hey, that's great. You're in a different tax bracket this year. You made $15,000 more this year than last year. Hey, did you know that you owe like $4,000 on student loans? Yeah, we're going to start garnishing checks. That's great. So all the extra money you're making, you just took a higher stress position just because to pay us. And now you actually take home less a week because you're in a different tax bracket. Oh, pre-tax, baby. Gotta love it. It's like, but the OVO merch drop is dropping. Well, I guess you'll just have to literally go to the party next door. Huh? Nope. Well, the IRS are like, well, how about you come and see me for once? Why you gotta come to me? The IRS is really just one big Drake song. But I guess Party Next Door song. Why you gotta start? Why you gotta start? Now I'm getting text to say, what time are you gonna be there? Okay. But yeah. So, you know what they say. You twist the croissant and you get flaky bitches. I gotta love the Irish. I don't think croissants were made in Irish culture. But, If I had Irish. Actually last night, it's weird because it happened a year ago. I kind of went through, I don't know how it popped up in my algorithm, but I was actually watching like one of those, I don't know if they still do it, the versus battles. And it was Omarion and Mario. I've heard of Omarion more for, his girl, baby mama, as the public likes to say, getting with an ex bandmate of his that he left called B2K, where she got with Lil Fizz and got a little fizz of his Sprite. She rationalized it. He's on this like all peace and love. I moved on. I'm in a different space. And then, I guess during this versus battle, to start off, Mario brought out his whole bandmates that he left to go solo. Which, by the way, I guess he's had a really good career without him. Because they probably need to go do this. Like, do you really think that, like, for example, do you really think, like, One Direction, if, like, Harry Styles was on stage by himself doing a versus battle with someone, if they would get Niall, Zayn, and whoever the other two motherfuckers are, and get them, he was on, let's just say he was doing a versus with, like, I don't know, Colby Calais. That's a random ass versus. It's weird. They never do a guy versus girl for the versus. It's always guy versus guy, girl versus girl. But if it's open competition, it's about the music. Well, I guess even in music, there is a superiority in strength. Nope. Okay. Like, what if Beyonce did a versus like, I don't know, trying to think of a similar artist, like The Weeknd, right? Like, obviously Beyonce, bigger artist, The Weeknd's pretty fucking big too. That would be a pretty interesting versus, but it'd be kind of weird, a guy saying, "Yeah, fuck you, bitch." I think it would be illegal. Like, if you said "fuck you" to Beyonce in public. First of all, you got to worry about the Bayhive, but you got to worry about everyone just beating your ass, because it's like, she's got a little backing in certain rituals, if you get the drift. But I guess a better thing would be like Beyonce, Rihanna. Like, that would be like, okay, one of the bigger ones at their game stature. Or Taylor Swift versus Beyonce. Well, then Kanye might come and interrupt it. Hey, Taylor, I know you're dating Travis Kelce, but Beyonce's with fucking Jay-Z, a fucking billionaire. Changing the game. Tidal wave. And he owns a sports agency. And he owns 1% in the Nets. Kanye, I've had a weird admiration for Kanye. Obviously, you have to respect his name in the game, his music acumen, all that good stuff. I've always felt like his antics were always kind of dramatic for no reason. I never really got into the extremism of him. And I always felt like when people just say like, oh, it's just an artist, it's just art and all that shit. It's like, no, sometimes like you can't just say they're just artists and rationalize certain behavior. Sometimes like people just have issues. Like, you wouldn't say someone at a job like, hey, I know he really, he's a little kooky out there, but have you seen him do the spreadsheets? It just comes with the territory. It's like, he threatened to strangle Randy, It's like, look, you just got to understand what comes with the territory. You don't get the magic without the witchcraft. It's like, okay. But, the thing with Kanye is that over time, all the stuff he says in real time, it sounds like oh, insanity and stuff. And then a lot of stuff, it's like, as time sits and he kind of goes away and things get back to normal, all the stuff he's kind of saying, you kind of look at like, oh, okay. He wasn't completely crazy. He may be having a mental episode, or he may just actually be more in touch with reality than all of us. You know, well, who are we to decide who's actually in touch with reality? Like, who am I to know what is reality? Because I don't even know my reality. I know the life I live. I know the things I do. I know the way I think, the way I feel. But is reality a consistent answer? That is, there's one answer to it, and you either have developed that sense of what that is, or you just kind of lie to yourself and live within those parameters? Or is it literally just whatever you decide it to be? And however you rationalize things yourself and how that goes, I don't know. That's the thing with these like satanic, Illuminati, Scientology, religion, is that I think those things are more of escapisms to reality. They are to make you have hope and feel within a certain aspect of yourself that doesn't always have to be explained, but it proves to make people feel better, and maybe it develops ability to make you do things that make you a better person than if you didn't have it. So it's really just like one big AA meeting, I guess. But I don't know. Enough of that. I was about to say a slur. Not really a slur, but a term that you would say if you're like in the 6th grade and you would say, man, that's some GAY stuff, but you don't actually mean like in the literal term. It just means, oh, that kind of got sus. The kids today, you know, the word sus, it is just replaced with that word. Let's just call it what it was. It's a more acceptable pronoun for it, whatever the fuck it is. Acronym. Sus just means suspect, I guess. Hey, the sus is on the loose. That reminds me of this one time a couple months ago. Me and my lady, we're going to sneaking her in my gym that I paid multiple memberships for anyway, so they could just suck my wiener. And literally in this normal crossroads area, damn, I just kind of gave away the place. Sitting at a light by a gas station across from a Wendy's or whatever. And this guy-ish just walks across the street, you know, not the crosswalk area or anything. It's whatever, like. But this man's wearing fishnets and very short shorts. And a very up high tank top with a little cut off at the belly button. And I'm looking the area and I'm like, okay, there's a Dairy Queen. There's a dental place, there's an auto zone, and there's a Arby's. We got the meats. He might. Honestly, don't know where this potential worker, and by that I mean sex worker. Damn it, I was trying not to say it. I felt like that's not algorithm friendly, but I don't know how else to say it, you know. It was kind of a weird area because it's not an area where like you would just kind of be hanging around in the middle of the afternoon trying to get some business. You know what I'm saying? Well, I guess there's never a wrong time to get business. And look, you'd be surprised at the places you would get business at. Typically, maybe these affluent areas are probably more where you get business. Because you know what? The easier and the more affluent your life is, you got to somehow feel attached to the non-affluent areas that have the drugs, that have, illegal activities, per se. Kind of like, damn it, I can't say that. Damn it, now I got to think about what I say about even referencing a situation. Let's just say sometimes you work with people that use the business operations to run their personal operations, and it becomes a federal crime to distribute stuff. That was a timely burp. I'm such an idiot. I took the line between being fired, exposing information, but can't prove what I'm exposing. It's not my fault you still have the picture on the wall. I actually found out that Kid Rock, apparently, back in the day, Kid Rock and Tommy Lee, there was almost going to be a celebrity fight between them. Tommy Lee was like, oh, I'm going to beat his ass. And then Kid Rock, because Kid Rock was with Pamela Anderson, which was Tommy Lee's ex, infamously. I'm on a boat, motherfucker. And the thing is, like, drummers, man, they got hands, man. It is hard to drum, man. Holding wooden sticks in your hand for hours and hours, sweating. Like, do people not, like, the shoulder stamina, the forearm, hand stamina you gotta have to play drums, especially in, like, a real band where you're playing pretty high-level stuff, intensity. That shit is hard as fuck, man. But it's funny because as I was listening to someone, they said, I would like, I think Kid Rock has thrown rocks at, I think he's thrown a couple rocks. He's like stoned someone, that type of vibe. I don't actually get that from Kid Rock. There's actually, I came across a video. It's kind of weird how it all comes together. I came across a video where someone actually did the real Kid Rock, how he grew up. And he's from Detroit, but he's actually from slightly outside in the suburbs. His dad was like pretty, made decent amount of money to live in a nice house. And he purposely went to the inner city because he used to be a rapper. So he went to the inner city, intertwined with, the rap scene and all that good stuff. Actually made some mixtapes and demos and, did the whole thing. Credit to him. And then there's this whole thing where he basically turned on rap when he went country, started playing into that, started becoming more about playing an image, for rednecks, Confederacy, not exactly the favoritism of what got him. He basically got what he needed, got out, and then not only that, but then shunned the community or shunned the rap scene in Detroit and anyone that helped him and said, fuck y'all. And I don't know, when I see Kid Rock, I don't really see, I feel like he's the definition of someone who's fallen into playing a character. Like, I understand there's an image aspect, but like, I'm sorry, there's no way like I look at someone like the way he is and think that that's actually how he really is if he wasn't a music artist. But he has to play that way, that's what sells, that's the image. If he were to be relatively, balanced in some way, it probably wouldn't sell. And see, but that's just the outside looking in. In my opinion, is I think Nickelback's on Rockstar. I really do feel like that song is based off him. I know they say, and there's this argument about that song. Is it a country song? I don't think so. But, I actually don't really even care for the song that much. And I'm a Nickelback fan. It's not a bad song, but it's a definition of a formulaic song that if there were anything to criticize Nickelback for, is that you could definitely tell the songs that I wouldn't say were just made out of pure, just like out of nowhere enjoyment. It was definitely like, hey, we're going to write a song about what it's like being a rock star stereotype and all that stuff. Make a cool video attached to it and sell it. And it worked. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's okay to do that once in a while. Which actually, A$AP Rocky came across something where he actually hates this song, Fucking Problems. Not because he doesn't like his verse, not because he doesn't like who he collab with, not because he thinks the song is trash, but like I was saying, because it was following the formula at the time. Like now he was saying the formula is, following the TikTok trend of songs that will hit on TikTok and all that stuff. And then during that time, it was to get on a song with Drake and 2 Chainz and have a song with a certain BPM and it'll hit, essentially. And he said he basically just, he kind of just doesn't, he's not really proud of that song because of that. It wasn't like a natural, it was definitely like very like industry formulaic and how it looks and how it is. And, well, I'm going to say if he didn't get in the door with Drake, how would he have met Rihanna? I'm pretty sure he probably met Rihanna long before that. Maybe he didn't. But maybe he saw Drake Street and was like, you know what? I don't even know if I like this girl. But you know what, Drake? Shut the fuck up. I'm going to take her off your hand so you can stop writing about her. And it's never going to happen. But that's just the way it is. They call me the dentist because I be putting plaques on the wall. Isn't that kind of ironic that when dentists win, dentist of the year in the state, they put plaques on their wall? Oh, Jesus. I've actually never seen like a famous dentist. We have famous doctors, famous plastic surgeons. We don't have a famous dentist. We don't have like a Dr. Oz of the dentist industry. We don't have a Dr. Phil of the dentist industry. Like, you don't go buy toothpaste and see some famous ass dentist and be like, oh, Yeah, I don't know if you call, I don't think you call, what do you call dentists? Are they doctors? I don't know. It's all insurance fraud. All this shit's just to drag money out of you. Tell you have issues that aren't really there. It's like, okay, so let's say someone does have enlarged gums. It's like, if I don't fix this, let's just say I just keep brushing my teeth, flossing like normal, and I don't get this surgery, you tell me, how long will it take before, like, I start feeling pain? Like, probably like 8 years. It's like, but you're making it like if I don't get it done the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have, my gums are going to be overriding my teeth, and then my teeth are just going to look like little Trix Pebbles. And they're like, well, you don't want to go around, looking like Hunchback of Notre Dame with those teeth, do you? And you're just like, well, let me lay you back, and I'll show you the hunchback of how much Notre, I don't know where I'm going with that. Notre Damian Lillard, I drop buckets on your ass till Tyrese Halliburton is like my time, as he, has 4 points in the first half. Which, by the way, shout out to Lakers for winning the in-season cup tournament. Yeah. Genie really be busting open that checkbook. Which, by the way, I just gotta say, I bet on Miles Turner one time, and it wasn't last night because I stopped after this one time. The man, as a center, the biggest dude in your team, the number was 5.5 rebounds. I'm thinking easy money. He will, like, you accidentally get 7 to 8 rebounds. This man got 4 rebounds that night. And I said, I don't want to say fuck this guy because it's nothing that personal. Like, it's just sports. But fuck that. Like, bruh. After that, because I watched that game, I'm like, I am never going to bet on this man if he's ever playing a quality opponent. For any stats. Like, the man just doesn't put up stats or doesn't do anything. I don't want to call him overrated, but all I hear about is Tyrese and Miles. It's like the dude barely averages like 16, 17 points and 7 rebounds. But he talks like he's like Shaq or Jokic or some shit. Like, he's a good player. I don't want to say he's not good. Like, I don't want to sound like Chris. So it's like, that's why I was like, I didn't bet on Anthony Davis. But I was like, I don't know what Miles Turner is going to do offensively. Probably not much. But Anthony Davis is about to have a fucking field day. And betting on Anthony Davis, I think Anthony Davis is going to can be kind of hit and miss. But the man dropped 41, 20 rebounds, 4 blocks, 4 assists. I didn't have to watch the game. And I looked at Miles Turner, and he had some pretty below pedestrian stats even for him. So I'm like, yep. That's why I see. And I think it just goes to show how good Tyrese is actually. It's pretty insane when the number to bet on was 12.5 assists. The dude's averaging 26.5 and 12.5 assists. And he's not even been mentioned for MVP for anything. And they have a winning record, and they don't really have a great team. Sorry to get in some NBA talk here, but he has one of the weirdest shooting things. But he shoots such a high 3-point percentage that's like, oh shit. But yeah, it's just something I've kind of, and that's where I think the whole like market stuff, when they talk about like the importance of being in a good market, like it kind of is insane. Like going back to Shohei, I literally went to the break room, and I already heard about the story, but someone was in there, and it was on the TV, 10 years, 7 Shohei, whatever. And I was like, you know, the weirdest part is him being in LA and all that stuff. Like literally, like 300+ million of that is probably going to be taxed. But at the same time, being in that market, he's going to make pretty much all of that back from endorsements, or a good portion of it back in endorsements. And there's also this weird stat. Him, and I forgot about this. Mookie Betts has like a $420 some crazy $1 million deal too on the same team. That's why I guess they had to do the payments that way. But their contracts combined over that period of time is literally the same, is actually more than the value of the Miami Marlins. I don't know if that's a good indication for business in baseball or sports, or if it's bad. All I know is like literally this dude is going to be a billionaire just by playing baseball without anything outside. Like LeBron James has made a lot of money, but his career earnings just from basketball salary alone is like $428 million. But he's basically a billionaire, but most of his money has come from off the court. And that's the thing with baseball. It's weird how baseball is a sport where like oh, the money's not all great. But yet, we have these craziest contracts. We have these like crazy ass contracts. And sorry. I kind of got. But yeah, we have these crazy ass contracts. But it just seems like we don't. You know how bad you are as a texter when I can't even type with my left hand. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm literally texting right now. This is how you know we're doing it live, as Bill O'Reilly would say. Give me just. But yeah, so is this thing where we have these crazy baseball contracts. All I keep hearing is, oh, attendance is low, revenue in baseball is this and that. No one watches baseball. Everyone's football and basketball. But nobody watches baseball, but then here we are giving out $700 million. Where football, it's crazy if Patrick Mahomes is a $500 million contract or some shit. But baseball is just like everyone gets a contract. But also it's like the high get the high, the low gets the low, and then there's the 8 years of moving up the ranks and shit. But yeah, sorry. This will be a shorter episode than usual. But yeah. All right. You know what? Sorry. I got some stuff to take care of. Sorry to cut it off so short. I'm in a rush. I got to go somewhere. It's Dad's birthday stuff. So had to fit this in. All right, guys. That was episode 239, the Off Me podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Most important, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great day and night. Enjoy.